I hope that you're ready to join us. It is Sunday, and it is your day to figure out how to rest, reset, and lock in for the week. And that's why we love having this show on Sundays. Last week we discussed being double-minded. We discussed how you can break that cycle of self-sabotage. And this week, we're going to continue a similar pathway, although different, because I've been thinking about this for a while. It's something that has been on my mind for many years, even as an athlete, and as a dad and as an individual, just a guy out here trying to do what he does. And that is simply, we were all created in the image of God. And most of us believe that we were created, because that's what the Bible says. We were created in the image of God. But then the thing that I've been thinking about all these years is, what separates the elite athletes from the other athletes, right? What separates the 1% from the rest of the crowd? And I know you're wondering it too. You've got to be asking yourself at some point, well, it doesn't make sense that some people succeed or some people thrive while other people are struggling, trying to get by, trying to figure it out. And they just don't seem to get over that hump. They seem to always be, or seemingly be, in a pressing mindset or a pressing mode. And I want to talk about that today, because I think I've come around to some ideas about why this is happening and how to change it. Now, if you have some input, please text the show. It's 419-972-1922. Text the question, text your solution, text your answer, text your input. We'll be happy to grab it and read it to the audience and share along the way. But, here's the deal. If we're all created in God's image, then we got to ask yourself, why there's so many differences? There's different bank accounts, sizes, there's different skin tones, there's different levels of opportunity, energy, and expression. And I'm going to do my best to lay out what I believe is going on. I believe, in plain English, that we are made in God's image, but it doesn't mean that we are all supposed to look the same, think the same, live the same, operate the same. It means that we all carry a piece of God, or God's divine essence, and we have the ability to create. We have the potential to create, operate, and multiply. He said, hey, go out and multiply. So we've been given a distinction amongst ourselves, because God obviously doesn't duplicate. My fingerprints are the only set of fingerprints since the beginning of time till the end of time that will match me and identify me. My eyes are unique. It opens my phone, my facial features. So we know without the shadow of a doubt that we were all created differently. We know that there is no duplication. There's no two snowflakes that are identical. But what happens is that we do have distinction. Even though we're not duplicated, we have distinction, and the differences aren't a glitch. There are assignment. We've been assigned a set of gifts, of potential, of opportunity that we have to live out. And your distinction is what makes you dangerous. If you can learn to tap into it, it's what sets you apart, which calls you higher. And yet the world, the school system, your parents, everybody teaches you to run from your distinction, to run from your uniqueness, to shrink a little bit, to normalize and start playing small. Just blend in. Don't cause any problems. Don't be different. Don't stand out. We're all taught to blend in. And I think most of us have learned that lesson so incredibly well that we've turned into accepting a mediocre lifestyle. We've turned into accepting mediocrity. And, most of us start comparing. We start asking why the wealthy are wealthy and why we're working two jobs just to get by. We want to know why some people are free and some people are still fighting to feel free. And I know that there is a trigger about this conversation, and that trigger is always the 1%. You're always looking at the people who seem to be at the elite level, be it sports, medicine, healthcare, finances, wherever it happens to be. We always seem to look at the elite and we compare to the elite individuals in our society. And the term 1% triggers a lot of people because we've been conditioned to believe that the 1% are greedy, they're corrupt, they're unreachable. They are so far removed from us. Now, I know from personal experience that most of the people that elevate at such an incredibly high level are just normal people. They have an extraordinary gift and they actually happen to have tapped into that gift. They're not all greedy, they're not all corrupt, but I'm not blind and I'm not dumb. And if I want to be honest, I'm going to say to you, there is a corrupted 1%. The people that, I won't name names, but they have big names over history, but they were robber barons, meaning they stole, they manipulated, they used labor, they used slave labor, they used minority and child labor. They've crushed communities and resources and built their fortunes on the backs of the vulnerable. I'm not denying those people. However, there is another side. And before I give you the other side, let me give you something that may help you a little bit with that concept. Isaiah 10:1-2 says, "Woe to those who make unjust laws, depriving the poor of their rights and withholding justice from the oppressed." But you know what? We can't just stop there and say, "Woe is them. They're going to get theirs in heaven." That's not where we end. Where we slide to next is that there is another side to the 1%. There is a different 1%, and that is the side that is aligned. They are structured and aligned. They are builders. They are creators. They're visionaries. They're innovators. You know what? People who use their gifts to solve problems, not create problems. They create value, and they lead with integrity and character. I mean, those are the 1% that we want to know more about. You know what? They didn't manipulate anything, the system, people, or anything else to get where they got. They did what they needed to do, and they served to elevate their lifestyle. There's also a scripture that says, "Command those who are rich to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share." Because we're all different. We have a different distinction, different gifts. Some people are multipliers and some people are creators. But here's the thing I need to ask you. And I need you to ask yourself. And again, you can text us. If you want to text us your answer, 419-972-1922. Here's the deal. Are you part of the group that envies the corrupt 1%? Or are you focusing on becoming one of the aligned 1%? Because see, this isn't about rich versus poor. Okay. This isn't about haves and have-nots. It's about mindset versus mediocrity. And if you haven't figured out yet through all of our conversation, it is your mindset. Last week, we talked about being double-minded. Stop self-sabotaging, right? Get yourself some momentum in a positive direction. Focus on it, press on it, step into it 100% and keep moving in that direction. That's what we are truly looking and seeking to do. We're looking and seeking to be aligned with the gifts we're given through our natural talents and efforts so that we can move and elevate. The real 1%, the ones who live abundantly, who don't dominate their lane, they didn't just earn money, they thought and they worked differently because they had a different mindset. They also took action and they consistently show up. Here's the problem with most of us. You're not prepared. And therefore, when you show up, you're not ready to deliver your personal greatness. And all of a sudden, you've missed your opportunity. If you're on YouTube or Facebook and you want to drop a note, do it in the comments. I'm here. I'm happy to listen to you, see what you got cooking, answer any questions or acknowledge your statements. If you want to text into the show, it's 419-972-1922. So what does it mean when you say, hey, I know that it was created in the image of God. I know I have a gift that's distinct. But what about destiny? Doesn't God know everything? And how do I fit destiny into this conversation? I'm going to tell you.
Are you feeling stuck in life and finances? Introducing the 24K Life Code mobile app, your ultimate solution for personal and financial support. Available now on Apple App and Google Play stores. Our app provides online coaching with expert life, business, money, nutrition, and fitness coaches. With over 25 transformative courses, you'll master goal setting, time management, personal money management, and accountability. For less than $1 a day, you gain full access, 365 days a year, to the support you need. Join our thriving community, share your daily wins, and let's build your 24K life together. Download the 24K Life Code mobile app today and start living your best life.
You know what? This is all about living your unequivocal best life, boldly, unconditionally, and at your own highest value. That's what we're here for. But the question I ask you is, where does destiny fit into all of this? Because, I've always believed I was destined to do something huge, to do something great. And I have stepped into that. I have desired it. I've lived it. I think about it. I dream about it. And I do everything I can to fulfill it. And I believe that my own personal destiny is to do exactly what I'm doing, to move and motivate and educate others on how to use their finances, not to just be a good steward, but to get to the point to where they feel free enough that they can tap into their own purpose. The Japanese call it dharma. Dharma is what were you put here to do, and what were you put to do wherever you are. So you have a dharma at your job. A soldier's dharma is to fight and protect his tribe, his corporation, his company, his country. That's his dharma. My dharma is to wake up, to learn as much as I can, to take practical application, and then share it with you on how to multiply. We can say create and multiply your resources so that you have the capacity to tap into your life, to live abundantly and stop struggling in the thriving game. That is we want to thrive. We don't want to survive. Survival is not for us. It's not what we were brought here to do. But here's what I need you to know. Yes, you have a destiny. Yes, your destiny is divine because it's a gift from God. There's just no question about that. Here's the issue. It's not automatic. It doesn't just automatically appear. You were born with purpose, or dharma, if we want to say. You were born with creativity and a vision. God formed you in his mind before you ever hit the earth. We are God's masterpiece, created to do good works, which he prepared in advance for us, meaning before we were ever born, he gave us a gift and a purpose. He gave us our dharma so that we could prosper and grow. You were coded for greatness the moment you popped out. But God will never force us to be great. He designed it for us. He won't force it on us. So let's just be real. It's on us to tap in. And that's why every episode I say, I hope you're ready to lock in, to tap in, because this is your charge. You have to know, number one, what your dharma is, what your purpose is, what you're here for. And then you have to tap into it and become an expert at it. There's a book out, and it talks about, by Tim Ferriss, he talks about becoming an expert. And he's done some homework and some research, and you can Google this, but his research says it takes 10,000 hours to be considered an expert at whatever it is you're doing. 10,000 hours. Well, think about your gift and how much time you've spent perfecting your gift, establishing your gift, growing and elevating your gift, because that's the rub. And what we're talking about, in case you just joined us, is we're talking about the difference between divinity destiny and your distinction. Because what we're really talking about is what's the difference between the 1% and everybody else? What's the difference? Now, I'm not talking about the silver spoons. I'm not talking about the robber barons. We've already talked about those individuals. I'm talking about legitimate people that are trying to make society better, trying to make themselves better, trying to deliver their gifts. How do you that group, how do you become part of the top 1%? That's what we're here to talk about. If you want some input, you want your voice heard, we want to hear it, just text us at 419-972-1922. So let's just say that you know your gift. You also know your value. You know what you're worth. You know what you should be doing. You know what you should be achieving, but you haven't experienced it yet. Well, listen, don't start by questioning what you're worth. Don't do that to yourself. That is a trick that society wants you to fall into normality, to mediocrity, so that you don't feel the distinction. So you've heard the axiom, never give up. And if you fall down, you only lose if you never get back up. So what we're here to do is say, listen, you know your value. You haven't seen it yet. You know it's bubbling inside of you. The question isn't, are you worth it? Are you valuable? Why are you struggling? That's not the question. The question becomes, are you in alignment? See, if we come from source, if we come from God, if we come from excellence, if we come from greatness, but you're in the mud, and I'm not talking about in the mud, the people in the 419. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about the people that know that they have greatness inside of them and that they are willing to do the work for it to manifest. That's what we're talking about. Are you in alignment? Are you seeking, searching, and getting on God's frequency? You don't have to beg, borrow, or plead. He already gave it to you. But if you are, and we talked about this last week, if you're talking against yourself, if you're speaking against your gift, if you are not in alignment with the vibration and the frequency of excellence that your gift is here to deliver, might be the reason you're not seeing it. Might be the reason you're not living it, because you know you're great, but you're talking trash. So you got to take a look at your life and see, am I aligned or am I unaligned? And where can I get lined up? Because here's the hard truth. You don't get what you're worth. You get what you walk in. You got to walk in this divinity. You got to walk in this excellence. And here's the thing. No one's perfect. No one walks in excellence every day, or we wouldn't be human if we did that. We are expected to fall, but you're expected to get back up. You're also expected to be in alignment more often than not. So we go back to being double-minded, as we talked about last week. And I told you that most humans have 70,000 thoughts per day. If you have 70,000 thoughts per day, and the majority of them are negative, man, you are having a lot of unalignment. And I don't know if unalignment is a word, but you are not in alignment if that's the cadence that you are at. More negative, more pessimism than good, than optimism, then I'm going to be great. I told you last week that I have a mantra that I got from Oprah many, many, many years ago. And it was, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. I see we got some listeners on YouTube or Facebook. Hey, say hello. Let us know who you are. Ask a question. Give us your input. Give us your 2 cents. Are you walking in alignment, or are you disjointed? See, the gap between knowing your reality and living your reality is where we are. And most people figure that that's a punishment. If you know that you're worth something, but you're not able to experience it, you're in hell. You're being punished. What did I do wrong? Well, what you did wrong was not get in alignment. And this is a mindset game, which is why I talk about money and mindset so much. I wish I didn't have to, but let's be honest. If something's going sideways on a regular basis, it might be your approach. It might be the way you're looking at it. You might need to step back. Let me give you a great example. So I don't do video games and I don't do games and all that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, it's probably, once a day, or at least once every other day, I have a little puzzle game called Word Jam on my iPad. Don't put it on your phone because you're going to be playing it all the time. Put it on my iPad and I play maybe before I go to bed or something to wind down. And sometimes I will do the puzzle and I'll get down to the last two words and I just cannot figure these words out. No matter how many times I rearrange the letters, no matter how many times I look at it, no matter how many times I try to match it all up, I just can't seem to find the right words. What I learned really quickly was that when I closed the app down, when I shut the iPad off, and come back to it later. It might be later that night. It might be the next day. It might be the next night. It might be 3 days later. I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, when I open it back up, the words come to me. I look at the mix of words and I can spell the word. And I spent, a lot of time trying to figure it out before. Couldn't do it. Couldn't see it because I was there on top of it. It was confusing. I needed to step back, reevaluate, take a deep breath, get fresh eyes, get new wineskins, and then take a second look at it and bam, comes right to me. That's what we're talking about with this life. If you're struggling, you might be too close to the struggle. Maybe you should step back and start to analyze your day. What are you actually creating day in and day out with your actions, with your words? And I'm not blaming you, because this isn't about blame. This is about finding a path to thriving and enjoying your life. Feeling free, to me, is one of my ultimate values. How can I structure this so I feel more free? So we're trying to figure out how we can live according to our value, according to our worth, according to our divinity, without the struggle. We don't want our irritation pulling us into transformation. We want to flow into it. And you have to understand that creation is already inside of you. So it's just waiting on you. Here's a scripture for you. Romans 8:19. It says, the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. It's already inside of you. It's not waiting on perfect behavior. It's not waiting on external validation. You don't need nobody outside of you telling you you're right. It's waiting on you to stop apologizing for your light, to step up and start living like you've been sent. I told this to a client that I was coaching the other day. I look at everything as God sent me to deliver this message. And that's the way I approach most of the things. Notice I didn't say all. I need work also, but most of the things that I look at. Because here's the thing, when you're feeling some certain kind of way, you're not behind. Stop telling yourself you're behind. You're exactly where all of your choices, decisions, and thoughts have brought you to. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, given what you've been inputting. You're getting the output. So let's change the input. You're not overlooked. God gave you the gift before you were ever thought of. Here's the unadulterated truth. The reason why you're struggling in your head and heart is because you know you've been called higher to do a greater work. And I ain't here preaching to you. I'm just telling you. We talked about the 24K life. This is called the 24K life show. I want you to live that golden life. I want to continue to live a golden life. And the minute I stop doing what I was brought here to do, what I was sent here to do, trust me, that's going to tarnish. The 24K life isn't about checking boxes or flexing your wealth. We're not talking about how much money we have. It's about mastering your mindset, your money, your purpose, your soul so deeply that your life becomes a living sermon. Your life becomes the movie that everybody wants to watch because you're broadcasting. Remember, God created us in his image. So when you are living that 24K life, I call it a sermon, but you're actually broadcasting the divinity and the identity that God gave you. It's your unstoppable purpose. That's what it is. There's no ifs, ands, or about it. So yes, there's a 1%, but I need you to rise up and create a new kind of 1%, the high frequency, faith-filled 1%, the one that's a great financial steward with their resources, 1%, a purpose-driven entrepreneur and leader. You know what? The ones who don't chase the money, they just create value. Because the more problems you solve, the more money is going to come your way. It's just who you are. And this is the final one. It's the ones who stop waiting and start walking. Because Proverbs 13:22 says, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. The question becomes, are you wicked or are you righteous? And if you're righteous, you got to stop being jealous of the wicked. You have to stop thinking about them, looking at them and wondering why them and not you, because it is you. Let's just get aligned to that vibration, to that frequency, to that God frequency, to tap into that gift where you know what it is. You start speaking it, you start living it, you're thinking it, and finally you're doing it with your hands. You're not walking into work talking about woe is me. You're stepping up and stepping out because you were born for this. You were built for this, and you are not here to survive. You are here to dominate in peace and purpose and in power. All right, fam, listen, that's my time. I appreciate you locking in, leaning in, and living this truth out loud with me. Until next Sunday, I need you to stay focused, stay faithful, and stay fearless. This is Derek Gant signing off from the 24K Life on Vibe106.com. Be your best. Bring your best. Leave nothing to chance. Hey, I want to honor our sponsors. I'm in Poet Production Company. And when you have musical needs, when sound is all you got, go to aminpoet.com. That's AMINPOET.com. Also, if you're ever in Ohio or Michigan and you find yourself in a little trouble and you need some help fast, reach out to Out Today Bail Bonds, 419-944-3495. And a special thanks to our man, Eugene. You're in the kitchen with DJ Jamalot for his support and sound. You know what? Don't forget, don't ever forget that you are called and coded for greatness. I'm Derek Gant. Be great.
Yeah, it's time to live your life. Derek Gant, show them how to take it to the highest height. Hey, this is more than financial advice. Show you how to take control. Time to get your money right. Money management. I know that we all need financial independence. Yeah, it seems out of reach, but you can make it happen. Now it's time for some action. Helping you with your finances. Yeah, we got a passion. Hey, ain't no limit. Now it's time to get it. You deserve to have a life how you want to live it. See.
Hey, thank you all for jumping on Facebook and YouTube. Leave some comments. I'd love to hear what you'd like to know more of, what you'd like to tap into, what you'd like to share. Have a great, great day.